Minister, on Count Corla, the vast majority of the money seized by criminal assets bureaus have been ripped from communities in which the criminals have been most active. It must therefore be returned to these communities. I represent Dublin Midwest and I grew up in North Dorkin, and parts of my constituency have been ripped apart by drug use and criminality over the years. And it's no coincidence that some of our most disadvantaged communities are the communities mostly affected by crime. Years of cuts and stagnation in funding for community-based services by successive governments have eroded community resilience. Sinn Féin has always advocated that any money seized by CAB should be put back into the communities to rebuild resilience and to enhance existing community services. My comrade Angus O'Snuddy raised this issue over 10 years ago. In response to a parliamentary question I asked recently, it was confirmed that CAB seized almost €65 million in cash and assets in 2019. This is a huge increase on the previous years, and it is very, very welcome news. If passed, this bill would require the Minister for Finance to carry out a review of the financial supports required for disadvantaged communities affected by crime, and to reinvest the money generated through the seizures of assets by CAB in those communities with a view to alleviating the impact of crime and enhancing crime prevention measures. It is vitally important that additional money invested in our communities needs to be on top of allocated resources and not seen as a replacement to the normal funding channels. It does not happen by accident that most of the money seized by CAB originates in areas that are highly disadvantaged, like my own. In my community, the best deterrent to crime is early intervention. Intervention leads to prevention. There are pockets of areas in my own constituency that have been the victim of very visible criminal activities. Now, these activities range from what's seen as low-level antisocial behaviour to intimidation to open drug dealing. The people involved in this activity seem to be operating with relative impunity. This has given a sense of lawlessness to the people who are living there, many who have been living there for 40, 50 years or more. And they have to put up with this behaviour on a daily basis, and it's not good enough. There's a real sense of fear and abandonment in our communities, and residents report a lack of police presence in our areas, particularly at night time. Like the dogs on the street know the hotspots in my area. And in fairness to the guards, they do react and call out to these areas, but as soon as their backs are turned, these people go back to the criminal activities that they were doing before the guards came out. If the money seized by CAB was reinvested into community groups that could provide early intervention to these young people, this could have a positive impact on all our communities. It could literally save these young people of a life of crime, addiction, prison and deaths. Family resource centres, youth organisations, unemployment services, sports clubs, drug task forces and others, and I could go on, who work in these disadvantaged areas should benefit from this fund. Like we've all seen the documentaries, Count Corla, about the glamorous lifestyle that these criminal gangs live, the fast cars, the big houses, the flash lifestyles. There are young people in my area and right across the state who are attracted by this lifestyle. They want the money in their pockets, they want the status, they want the brand new jackets, they want the brand new runners. If we could reinvest the money seized by these unscrupulous criminals who are at the top of the pyramid back into the communities that these young people live, it could broaden their horizons and give them better options to escape poverty. They could move from being burdens into society to being productive members of our society. Most things in life have a way of filtering down, but dirty money also filters up. The money that the mother borrowed from the credit union to pay the drug debts of her child flows right up to these criminal gangs. I've met parents who have been forced to pay drug-related debts what their children have accumulated. And these debts that their children apparently owe but to these unscrupulous dealers are frequently exaggerated. And these parents end up paying exorbitant amounts back to these dealers for fear of reprisals. Now, to me, there's a certain karma in knowing that the money that came from the poor mother's purse would be returned back to the communities instead of funding the lavish lifestyle of these communities, these criminal gangs, Count Corley. I've raised this issue before in this chamber and in the Dáil itself, and I've had promising soundings coming from the government and across the chamber, and I'd like to see cross-party support for this bill here today. I'll give way to my colleague, Deputy O'Murray, who